You're standing in your throne room. You're a king, wealthy, powerful, respected. A stranger arrives bearing a gift, a ring of gold, beautiful and perfect. He calls himself Annatar, the Lord of Gifts, and he tells you this ring will make you greater than you already are, eternal life, unmatched power. Everything you've ever wanted, you put it on, and that's the last choice you ever make, because becoming a Nazgûl means you don't die, but you don't live either. You become something else entirely, a prisoner in your own fading existence, serving a master you can never escape, wearing chains made of the very thing that promised you freedom. This is what it's really like to be a Nazgûl, and by the end of this, you'll understand why being one of the 9 is a fate worse than any death Middle-earth has to offer. Before you were a wraith, you were a man. Not just any man, you were a king, one of the 9 greatest kings of men in the Second Age. You ruled lands, commanded armies, made decisions that shaped nations, and then Sauron came to you. Except he didn't look like Sauron. He looked like Annatar, beautiful, wise, offering gifts that seemed too good to refuse. The elves already had their rings, the dwarves had theirs. Why shouldn't the kings of men have their share of power? You weren't tricked because you were stupid. You were tricked because you were exactly what Sauron needed. Ambitious, proud, and terrified of the one thing your kingdom couldn't fight, death. That's the crack Sauron exploited. Men die, elves don't, dwarves live for centuries. But you had maybe 60, 70 years if you were lucky. Your kingdom would outlive you, your legacy would fade, everything you built would crumble. The ring promised to fix that. So you took it. You wore it. And for a while, maybe years, maybe decades, it felt like the best decision you ever made. You stopped aging. Wounds healed faster. Your enemies feared you. You felt invincible. But the ring wasn't giving you power. It was taking you, piece by piece, thought by thought, until the man who put on the ring no longer existed. What actually happens when you become a Nazgûl isn't a sudden transformation. It's a slow, horrifying dissolution of everything you are. First, you start to fade. Not metaphorically, literally. Your physical body begins to lose its substance. You look in a mirror and you're translucent. Your hands pass through objects if you're not wearing the ring. Your servants start to look through you instead of at you. You're being pulled into the unseen world, the realm of spirits, of shadows, of things that exist but don't belong. And the worst part? You're aware of it the entire time. You feel yourself slipping away, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Your emotions go next. Love fades, joy gone. Fear? That stays, actually. Fear is one of the few things the ring lets you keep, because Sauron needs you to be afraid. Afraid of him. Afraid of losing the ring. Afraid of what you've become. What replaces your emotions is hunger. An insatiable, gnawing need for the ring. Not your ring. The ring. The one ring. Because every ring of power is just an echo of the one, and once Sauron forged it, every ring-bearer felt its pull. Your ring isn't your power anymore, it's your leash, and then your will breaks. Not all at once, that would almost be merciful. No, it erodes. Thought by thought, choice by choice. Until one day you realize you haven't made a decision in years. You only obey. Sauron's voice in your mind isn't a suggestion anymore. It's the only thought you have. You are no longer a king. You are a wraith, a shadow, a tool. What does your existence actually look like now? What do you do as one of the 9? You don't sleep. You don't eat. You don't rest. You exist in a state of perpetual, hollow wakefulness. Centuries pass and you don't tire, but you don't feel refreshed either. You're just there, always. Your body, if you can even call it that anymore, is barely tangible. You wear black robes not for intimidation, but because without them, you'd be invisible to the living. The robes give you shape, form, something for mortal eyes to latch onto. Underneath? Nothing. A void where a man used to be. You ride a horse, but only because Sauron commands it. You wield a sword, but you don't feel its weight. You speak, but the voice isn't yours. It's the rings or Saurons or some twisted echo of what you used to sound like. Your purpose is singular. Find the one ring. That's it. That's all you exist for. Every thought, every action, every moment of your endless existence is bent toward that goal. Not because you want to find it for yourself, you can't want anything anymore, but because Sauron wants it, and his will is your will. And the truly horrifying part? You're aware of this. Somewhere, deep in whatever remains of your consciousness, you know what you've become. You know you used to be a king. You remember fragments, your name, your kingdom, the faces of people you loved, but you can't hold on to them. The memories dissolve like mist, and all that's left is the hunger and the command. You hunt Frodo across Middle-earth not because you hate him, but because you must. The compulsion is absolute. When you scream at the fords of Bruinen, when you stab Frodo on Weathertop, when you lay siege to Minas Tirith, you're not choosing to do any of it. You're a puppet. The strings are invisible, but they're made of gold. Becoming a Nazgûl isn't just about what you are, it's about what you'll never be again. You will never feel sunlight, not metaphorically, literally. The sun burns you now, not with fire, but with a searing existential pain that makes you recoil. You are a creature of darkness, and light, the pure, uncorrupted light of the sun and moon, is agony. You ride at night. You hide during the day. The world you once ruled under open skies is now a place you can only visit in shadow. You will never love. The capacity is gone. If you had children, you don't remember their names. If you had a queen, her face is a blur. The ring hollowed you out and filled the space with nothing but need. Need for the one, need to obey, need to exist in service to Sauron. You will never die. And this isn't a gift, it's a curse. Because death, for a Nazgûl, would be mercy. But you can't die. Not really. Your body can be destroyed, your robes burned, your form scattered, but you'll come back. Sauron will remake you because you're too useful to let go. You're bound to the ring, and as long as it exists, so do you. And you will never be free. Even if you wanted to resist, you can't. The ring doesn't give you that option. Sauron's will is woven into your very being. You are an extension of him, a finger on his hand, and fingers don't rebel. The cruelest part? You remember freedom. You remember what it felt like to make a choice, to want something, to be someone. But those memories are like looking through frosted glass. You can see the shapes, but not the details. And they fade a little more every year. You're not just a Nazgûl, you're one of 9. And there's a hierarchy. The Witch King of Angmar is first among you. He's the one who has retained the most of his old self, the most power, the most will, the most presence. When Sauron speaks, the Witch King is the one who hears it clearest. The rest of you, you hear echoes of echoes. If you're one of the other 8, you exist in his shadow. You follow his commands almost as much as Sauron's. You're not individuals anymore. You're a unit, a collective force of terror. The 9. Always together, never apart, because separation weakens you. Alone, you're dangerous. Together, you're unstoppable. But you don't resent this. You can't. Resentment requires ego, and ego requires selfhood, and you don't have that anymore. You simply are. The Witch King leads. You follow. That's the natural order. And when the ring is finally destroyed, when Sauron falls and the 9 are undone, do you feel relief? Do you feel anything at all? We don't know. Tolkien doesn't tell us. Maybe you dissolve into nothing, finally free. Maybe there's a moment, just one, where you remember your name, your kingdom, your life before it all ends. Or maybe there's nothing. No final thought. No closure. Just the void you've been walking toward for 3,000 years, finally swallowing you whole. The Nazgûl are the ultimate cautionary tale in Tolkien's world. They represent what happens when you chase power for its own sake. When you let fear of death drive you to betray everything you are. They were kings, they had everything, and they threw it all away because they wanted more. More time, more strength, more control. And in trying to escape death, they became something worse. Undead, unliving, trapped in an existence that can't end. The hobbits never become Nazgûl. Aragorn doesn't. Gandalf doesn't. Not because they're not tempted. Frodo is constantly tempted. But because they understand something the Nine didn't. Some prices are too high. Some powers are chains disguised as crowns. The ring doesn't give, it takes. And the Nazgûl are what's left when there's nothing left to take. Being a Nazgûl isn't power. It's imprisonment. It's the slow, irreversible loss of everything that makes you human, until you're nothing but a hollow echo of ambition and fear. You don't get to be king anymore. You don't get to choose. You don't even get to want. You just serve. Forever. And the most horrifying part? You're still aware enough to know what you've lost, just not aware enough to do anything about it. That's what it's really like to be a Nazgûl. You don't die. You don't live. You fade. If this kind of deep dive into the dark corners of Middle-earth is what you're looking for, hit subscribe. We're just getting started exploring the lives that Tolkien wrote, but the movies never showed. The forgotten, the tragic, and the terrifying. There's a lot more where this came from. I'll see you in the next one.